Good evening, everyone. My name is James Catone, and I am the chorus and classroom music teacher at PS 376Q in lovely Bayside Hills, Queens. And Dr. Davis asked me to speak about cultivating the student teacher as the cooperating teacher. And I think about it in a four-step process. Four things I like to delve into with the student teacher. I like to try to help them crystallize and live their own teaching philosophy. We engage in conversation about what it means to be a teacher and research former and philosophers and read their books and dig out all the many historical references to the importance of music in education, not just in enhancing math and literacy skills. Sometimes I get a little bit over that to try to convince admin that music is worthy. Music is worthy by itself as its art form. And to come towards our position as a music teacher every day with our why, our WHY, forward and present as to why we're teaching. And every day it will help us reignite our own joy and our own passion for what we do. But cooperating teachers need to engage in conversation with their student teacher, not only about their personal philosophy, but to help the student teacher cultivate what is important to them in creating their own philosophy, not to match ours, but to maybe be peppered and seasoned by ours, but to really help them find their own individual voice. The other thing I love, we all need to always be speaking with our student teachers about, is helping them cultivate classroom management and procedures and routines that the children, as they come into the room, can be successful producing music, creativity, improvisation, singing, instruments, movement, so that the structures for success are already present. And that happens by taking a look at a lesson and what could derail this? And how do we reverse engineer it so that that doesn't happen, and that a high energy lesson with lots of engagement and lots of joy can stay safe and manageable and present for learning, and to help student teachers find the languaging behind effective classroom management. Where, for an example, I don't like the phrase, we're allowed to enjoy ourselves, but we can't get crazy. I prefer the word wild. We are allowed to enjoy ourselves, but we can't let it get wild, because that takes away judgment. We've all been wild. We've all been hyper. We all will be, because we're living. But how do we help the children come to a place where they can be engaged fully, full of joy, full of love, full of passion in what they're doing, but it doesn't cross the line and become wild? And languaging and engaging the children and interrupting the behavior before it gets there, not just redirecting, but interrupting, so that we remain in command of the room, but we don't dissipate the joy and the engagement that we want from the kids. And that comes from experience, but also from languaging, and to help them with management, whether it's with 3K or pre-K, and a completely different set for 4th and 5th grade. And that's our function, to not only let them watch us be successful at classroom management, but to find their personal, individual style of classroom management, but that management meets the moment that the children need. Then we draw upon the skills that we want to cultivate within the student teacher. I have done all the ORF levels, all the Kodai levels, the world music drumming levels, first steps in music and conversational solfege. So I consider myself skilled. I took all those levels over many summers, but now it is my joy to pass on how all of those skills can create effortless mastery in my students. And when I see my student teachers teaching, I take notes for them and I look for how do I show them this skill? How do I model this skill that the children need to be successful musicians without the student teacher feeling less than, where they feel uplifted and now they have a particular skill that they can use for the rest of their career and build those skills in with patience and guidance and love, and from me modeling them so that they now experience effective lessons, effective execution, effective work in making sure their students hit all their learning targets. But it comes from being very skilled ourselves and feeling grateful to be able to pass those skills on. And then I like to help my student teachers feel a sense of community within the building, not just within the classroom, but within the whole building. I've had student teachers give PowerPoint presentations at our Voices of Color clubs. I've had our student teachers working our spelling bee. I've had our student teachers, of course, part of the concerts, but also parts of the student government. So I will introduce them to the other faculty members in the building who are working in ways that the student teachers are interested in and release them to go learn from others. And if I know that there are teachers in the building who do specific things that I think are amazing, I will ask the student teacher, take the next fourth grade class and go observe in ENL. Go observe 12 1-to-1. In my building, we have particularly skilled speech therapy and OT. And I always encourage the student teachers to go observe those therapists in action because it's vital. And they become a larger sense in the community. And then they understand that as a music teacher, what we're really doing here. And of course, I want them to have a great relationship with phys ed and art. And in my building, we're blessed. We have a dance teacher. So we cultivate those relationships. But I also help them cultivate relationships with other teachers and service providers in the building, including the social workers and guidance counselors, so they understand we're part of the whole community and that we can draw on each other for support. And relationships and connections is something I forgot that I wanted to mention from management and philosophy. I encourage my student teachers to create relationships and connections with the students by talking about special things in their lives. Maybe if they speak another language, maybe if they have a funny story from when they took piano lessons or flute lessons or voice lessons, something that humanizes them to the children so that the children have a greater sense of buy-in as to what the student teacher is trying to teach them. And though this sounds like a lot, we have them for 7 or 8 weeks, and with patience and lots of prep periods, I do my best to try to uplift them and fill their bucket with skills so that when they leave their time with me, they feel completely equipped to start day one in a program with classroom management, with skills, with philosophy, and feeling like they can step into a community. And I also strive to make sure they all feel equipped to go into interviews and talk about turn and talks, think, pair, share, assessment, how all of this is present in the music classroom as well, so that they are equipped to speak in the verbiage that is necessary to get the position. So again, my name is James Cotone. My email address, in case you want to email me, is the letter J, COTTONE 3 at schools.nyc.gov. And I'd be happy to elaborate more. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.